Hello there. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. That is my sample card I made for this card that we will be doing today. Change the colors a little bit. There's a really bad edited close-up. There's another one, and you can tell the differences. I'm going to speed it up in a moment here, and then we will get going. Okay, again, there is my sample card. I do have Para Pizzazz in my ink. We're not using that, so don't even, because I decided not to do the grass in this card. That's the inside of it. I don't remember if we do the inside or not, because I'm doing this 3 days later, of course. We're using Enjoy Life, Needle and Thread, and Abstract Impressions. We're using Butterfly Die Cut from Abstract. That's some old olive cardstock that I went ahead and embossed with the subtle embossing folder that we'll be using, because I used that on this card, the one that we'll be making today as well. So we're going to be going off of Lovely Lipstick, Mango Melody, and Old Olive. So my sample card was A2, which was top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This one is still top folding. I knocked it down to 4 by 5 1/4 because I wanted the wings of the butterfly just to go off a little bit. So this is where I'm just embossing a 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White regular piece cardstock, because we're going to lay that right on top of the thick Whisper White that I had already cut. So we're going to be grabbing the butterfly from Abstract Impressions, and I'm going to be cutting that with that polka dot paper, which is from the new In Color 6x6 paper pad. And I'm running through that butterfly, and you want to use your precision base plate, because I do that a lot, where I'll run the die through again if the back's not looking cut all the way, but I'll take normally the junky plate I leave on the bottom that I normally cut the dies on, and then pop that on top, so that way I just have like one junky plate. And that is a die brush, and it's so much easier to use than the pokey tool, or take your pick to get all those die bits and pieces out. So here I am putting some liquid glue on the back of that subtle embossed piece of cardstock. I'm going to spill it massively in about a second here, because I was having a hard time getting it out, but it worked. It squished down just fine, and I'm always pulling in that Stamparatus for a hack. It's like one of the best tools I have in my place. Putting a block on top of it, setting it aside, letting it get all dry, pulling back in the big shot, and went back to the magnetic platform, and there's my junky bottom plate, because that's where the dies crush into. I am grabbing some die cuts from Needle and Thread, and I think that is retiring. So if you like it, grab it. I love it. I'm going to have a hard time with it. Now with those little flowers there, I went back to Christmas cardstock and got that fluffy white kind of snowy cardstock. The supply list is over on my blog. I completely forgot the name of it. I'm just drawing a blank now. So I die cut the 3 flowers. I ran it through twice with both of them, just in case I mess up somewhere. And the greenery was cut out of the Old Olive with a subtle on it. So now I have a Whisper White panel in there. It is 2, I just went ahead and cut it by 5, but you want it by 2 across, because I'm going to be using the scallop punch to punch that out. So I have that little, well, you can see it at the bottom where my left hand is there. That little image, that's going down in Mango Melody. It's just something really cutesy for the top. because we are putting down some white on white, and you want to break it up a little bit. So I have that down, got it cleaned up, pulling it off, and I'm going to be pulling in our sentiment from Enjoy Life, and that's going to be going down in Old Olive after I punch the cardstock, which I should have done in the first place, but you know, sometimes that happens. So I'm getting everything lined back up, and that grid paper and that Stamparatus, again, it only takes up 8 by 8 on your desk. It just leaves a very small footprint, and you can get a lot of work done without having 50 million tools out on your desk. So it's something I highly recommend. I pull off the door or the lid of it a lot just to make sure that I have the sentiment down. I have the grid paper and everything else, but sometimes when you pull it up in the sun, especially when you haven't used a stamp before, you can see it better. Normally I would have edited that whole thing out so you wouldn't have to sit here and listen to me talk for like almost 14 minutes. So our sentiment is down. And I don't even know if I double stamped that or not. It looks like, okay, that is going on the piece of the subtle paper that we already put on top. That is an inch thick. So I'm going to go ahead and just snip off the ends there. And, you know, everything's lined up. I use the bottom of my desk a lot like that. So now I'm going to mess with the tag for a little while, or I was, because I remembered I had to get that butterfly down. So I have some tear and tape, and I'm just going to put some down on the back, and I'm going to put some on the front too. And I'm not worried about cutting it or anything like that, because I'm going to have that tag going over the top of it. And this is where I'm going to go back and forth and mess with it a little bit just to see where it lands right, so to speak. And of course, I'll play with the wings and just do all these frivolous things that I really should have edited out. But on the upside, I found a lilac tree in my yard. It was very cool. It smells great. Cut some down, put them in a vase. So here I am, winging it where it has to go. And that looks like I cut it right at about 3.5. It doesn't look that long on the card that I'm looking at, but since I'm just rounding some corners, I'm going to stand up, make some noise, and measure it. So from the very top of the tag to the bottom, it was 2 3/4. Last minute, I decided to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals and stick them on the back. You want to be real careful where you put them, because you don't want to smash your wings down. And then plus we have some foliage to put up underneath the tag and some flowers to come off of it. And here, and buttons to put down. And there we have our tag. This part I did edit. Those faceted gems, they're going to be going June 4th. So I picked out the Mango Melody ones and the Lovely Lipstick, and there's 2 sizes. So I got a big one and a little one of the Lovely Lipstick and 2 little ones of the Mango. And I put the big one at the top of the tag after I grabbed some twine and just tied a quick knot, glue dot, put it on there. And this is where I was really glad that I went ahead and cut 2 sets of those little white felty flowers, because that one's way too little. It just didn't look good. And so I ended up using one of the round ones, and then just ended up pulling in that top one that you see there in the left-hand corner after I pulled that off and faked my way through it. Okay, here I go with the twine. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't edit. I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. But, well, I have some time. Erica, you won the prize for last week. Shoot me off an email. And I remember splicing in a picture of this week's prize. Just the usual, leave a comment. I have no idea why I'm doing all this in front of you. And I should just edit it out right now. But at least you're seeing the process. Oh, and no bad comments. I have learned my lesson, trust me. Okay, so for two of those flowers, I'm going to pop them on with glue dots. And then the bottom one with the lovely lipstick, that's going to go on a mini, that's going to go on a mini Stampin' Dimensional. Now the part that I'm not going to show you, but you'll see me bring it up closer and my fingers going underneath the flowers, is that's where I actually take some liquid adhesive and some tweezers and glue dots and just kind of snake everything underneath there, on top, get everything centered and positioned the right way, and that right there. So I'm getting the last button down, and it's going to come up in about 10 seconds or so, where I decide not to show you how I'm going to struggle with this here. But that's what I did. And that's what it looks like. And that is my sample card. Several differences I mentioned throughout the video. I mean, it's easy to make, and you've got the dimension on there, the butterfly wings, you have the tag element for the sentiment, you have the die cuts in there. That is our giveaway. Make a difference. Great alphabet stamp set, and it's big, it's huge. I need to use it more. So go ahead and leave me a comment, and thank you for joining me for this. It was more of a simple die cutting episode than stamping, but we got our tag in there. I hope that you have a great weekend. Please hit like and subscribe, and thank you for your support. Take care and God bless, and I will see you next Saturday.